Hey guys, and welcome back to a new video. Today is all about point exercises to try and get your point looking better, because who doesn't want a nicer looking point? And this is also especially valuable if you're starting to handstand and you're like, what are my feet doing? And they look kind of floppy and weird. So here are some good tips to try and get your point better. I will include the ones that I do in my training and my stretching and stuff, and then I will also include some slightly more advanced, intense stretches that my boyfriend Ian does, because he really struggles with getting his point better. And I also kind of want to talk about the fact that some people will struggle to have a good point compared to others because of like the bone structure and maybe just like the way that their feet are. With that in mind, let's jump straight into these exercises and I will hand you over to voiceover Ellen. Woo! So to start off with, this is what my point looks like. First exercise that I do is I flex and point my toes, and then I go around in half circles doing about like 5 reps of all of these, and then I go the other way, so going like back around side to your point. Then after that, I then do a pretty intense stretch, so I use some yoga blocks to make this a bit easier, but I essentially sit on my point. So go very careful if this is your first time trying this sort of exercise. I then go from the sitting position up into a sort of like forward pike fold, and I do about 5 of these. Once again, you could use like yoga blocks or something for this exercise. I then give my feet a bit of a stretch out after those exercises. I'm next going to come into another pretty intense stretch where I put my knee on the top of my heel. You can kind of play around with how much weight you put through that heel as well, and you can use your arms to take less of that weight off. But you're just going into that point position and then putting your heel into the top of, you're putting your knee into the top of your heel and applying a bit of pressure. I'm going to stretch out my feet again. Next, I'll just sort of test where my point is. This is where my boyfriend Iains' point is at. You can see it's a fair bit different to mine, and that's because of like bone structure and how much experience we've had working on our point. So the first thing that he does is he stretches his calves out, ideally like on a ledge or something. Next, we've then got a sort of like a heel mobilizer exercise where you pinch your heel and then you use the other hand to pull the foot back and then you point it. The next mobilizer one that we've got is mobilizing the top of the foot, so holding the ankle still and keeping it nice and static. You're then going to grab the top part of your foot and rotate it, trying to do this very gently. He then does this little sequence where he goes from standing, rising up on his toes, bending down to a squat, and then lowering his heels down, and then standing back up again. This one is really good for mobilizing your Achilles and your calves. You can then also do this reversed, so you go squat, heel raise, stand up. He then does some ballet point exercises where you literally feel like you can push the ground away and then point the top of your toes. He then does a point and flex sort of sequence, and this can also get a bit of a hamstring stretch with the yoga block. This next exercise is pretty intense. It's called the crusher for a good reason. Basically, you want to put a towel over the top of your foot and put it underneath something like a couch, and you want to put a yoga block underneath your calf. Now with this one, you can see that he's not putting much pressure through his knee, and you want to try and make sure that you're keeping that foot / your point nice and straight. And also just being very careful with how much pressure you put on your toe / your point. And that is it for these point exercises. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I hope you find them helpful. I have now finished all of my training, so I'm lovely and sweaty and gross now. But, you know, as always, please give this video a like because it really supports my channel, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!